Isang pinagpalang araw sa inyong lahat. Tayo po ay magninilay sa salita ng Diyos, ang pinagmumulan ng awa at tawa ng ating buhay, ang salitawa. We have come to the last part of Jesus' Bread of Life discourse. For how many days we have listened and reflected on the Bread of Life discourse of Jesus. Now we have come to the conclusion of our reflection on the Bread of Life discourse of Jesus. Our conclusion is, Jesus is telling us that resurrection is a matter of faith. That the bread of life, in receiving Him, who is Jesus Himself, is a matter of faith. And so for the conclusion of our reflection on the Bread of Life discourse of Jesus, we would ask the question, what is this faith that Jesus is talking about? First, we learned that faith is a gift from God. And so Jesus tells us, I have told you that no one can come to me unless it is granted him by my Father. Faith is a gift from God. It is a grace we receive from God. And this grace is given to us in the sacrament of baptism. And so, when we are baptized, we have received this gift of faith. Kaya nga po, faith is a gift. It is believing. Second, we can learn from this Bread of Life discourse that faith is a relationship with God. It is a commitment. In our gospel reading today, we heard that many of Jesus' would-be disciples or followers left Him because they could not understand and accept the words of Jesus when He said, whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood will have eternal life. Hindi nila ito naintindihan. And so, in our gospel reading today, Jesus turned His attention to His 12 disciples and asked the question, do you also want to live? And to this question, Peter answered him, Master, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. Brothers and sisters, Jesus is telling us that faith is knowing God, and this knowing would entail having a relationship with God. And so Peter, in his words today, would tell us, we have come to know, we have come to believe and know, convinced that you are the Holy One of God. Kaya nga tinanong sila ni Jesus, do you also want to live? Because faith is a matter of having a relationship with God, and when we enter into this relationship, we must commit ourselves to that relationship. Dapat nagiging malinaw sa atin yung pinapasukan natin at tapat tayo sa relasyon na ating pinasukan. Ngunit hindi tayo pinipilit ni Jesus, pero pinapahintulutan niya tayong magdesisyon sapagkat ang pananampalataya ay kailanman hindi pinipersa ng Diyos, pinipilit ng Diyos. Ito ay isang relasyon, ito ay isang commitment. Panghuli mga kapatid, we learn from this Bread of Life discourse that faith is an action. We learned this specifically in our first reading today, when this Simon Peter, who said in our gospel reading today, Master, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and are convinced that you are the Holy One of God, is now living out this faith, practicing this faith, or exercising this faith in action. When a sick person in Lydda, in the name of Aeneas, was healed, And in Joppa, in the name of Tabitha, was raised from the dead. Kaya nga po, ano yung faith in action ni Peter sa ating unang pagbasa ngayon? When he encouraged and brought healing to these people in the first reading today. Noong nagpagaling siya gamit ang pangalan ni Jesus, when he encouraged people that God can raise the dead, to believe in the power of God, that is already faith in action. And so, brothers and sisters, these are the three phases of faith that we can learn from this bread of life discourse of Jesus. Faith is a gift from God. It is a relationship and commitment to the Lord. And it is in action, an action. It is a life that we have to live. Muli isang pinagpalang araw sa inyong lahat.